Right now at 10, the Badgers are taking on Miami of Ohio. The excitement from fans for the football season opener. And a Madison priest is arrested. The new details as he faces charges for child sex crimes. Plus, Micah Parsons is now a Green Bay Packer. We'll detail how the trade compares to other picks by the Packers. That is all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening, and thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson. Eric Franke has the night off, and there is your score right now. The Badger game against Miami of Ohio is underway. We're early on in the second half of the third quarter. Current score is 3-0. Badgers hanging in there, but we need a touchdown, hopefully soon. It's been a bit of a slow first half, plenty of ball to play. And fans cheered on the Badgers hours before kickoff, many hours. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to some of the players' parents at a tailgate outside of Camp Randall.
The energy is alive. I'm just going to tell you, people are preparing for these tailgates a week in advance. My husband here has been preparing for weeks.
Tailgating fun here right outside Camp Randall at the parents' lot. I spoke to the parents of some of the athletes on UW's team, and they said this is not a culture, it's truly a tradition.
Not all schools do the tailgate scene like this. So.
Joey Okla and Owen Arnett's moms, Connie Okla and Stacy Arnett, are excited to cheer on their sons ahead of the Badgers football season opener Thursday. UW parents had the perfect recipe for a fun tailgate: beer, food, and of course, good vibes.
This is where we come and we unite as a team, as parents, while the boys are uniting in that locker room.
As Wisconsin fans from the state of Wisconsin, they say this is the best way to kick off the season.
We are so excited for the start of this season and so excited to just get this thing rolling.
And this is the other thing about the parent lot. We all share. Everyone moves from one lot, like tailgate to another. We're enjoying each other, getting to know each other, and we're just being present.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
And the background music helped. It was a great day for football with this forecast. But is the pleasant weather here to stay? We have Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington with the answer, and I have a feeling it's going to stick around.
It is going to stick around. We got a little bit of shower activity that we have to kind of work around here as we go into Friday, maybe into Saturday. But overall, between now going all the way through Labor Day, the weather is looking pretty fine in the forecast. Here are those showers. Let's track them here on Friday morning, 7 o'clock, nothing out there. But as we go a little bit later in the morning, by 10 o'clock, watch off towards the north, towards the west, towards the Viroqua area. Those showers move into parts of southwest Wisconsin. Maybe a rumble or two of thunder. We can't rule that out. Platteville, Mineral Point, Darlington, Boscobel, Madison. I think the chance of that shower is very low, maybe about 20% coverage. But cloudy conditions from the Dells to Watertown to the Waukesha area up to Camp Douglas and areas south towards the west. Highs will be around 70. Might be a little bit warmer than 70 just north of Madison because you'll get a little bit more in the way of that sunshine. Then as we go into Friday night, we'll see those skies start to clear out except for areas over parts of southwest Wisconsin. This rain chance here, this is just a tiny rain chance Friday night, but we have a much bigger rain chance as we head out towards Wednesday of next week. When I come back in about 10, 12 minutes or so, we're going to break that weather system down. That's going to be a pretty big weather maker for a good part of the country.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Alex. New tonight at 10, the Sunbury Prairie School Board has placed some staff members on leave amid an investigation into a former dean accused of child sex crimes. The board did not name which staff members were placed on leave, but they did say the decision is based on information currently available. Further action could be taken as criminal and employment investigations continue. Now, earlier this month, the board asked a Milwaukee area attorney to lead an investigation into the handling of allegations against former Sun Prairie West Dean Robert Gilkey Meisegeier after he was charged with child sex crimes back in July. We're bringing you continuing coverage this week of the retrial of Devontae Gafford, one of the men accused in the killing of 20-year-old Devon Grant at the Harmony Apartments back in 2023. Guns, shell casings, cell phone records, and DNA samples are all pieces of evidence presented by the prosecution today. The state's witness lineup includes a number of City of Madison police officers, detectives, and investigators to provide context to that evidence.
9mm fired cartridge cases that were recovered from the scene.
Okay. And do you believe those cartridge casings are associated with this firearm?
That is correct.
But Gafford never, he exits, gets back in, and never discharges the firearm after the first time he's out.
I believe that's correct.
The state has rested their case, meaning the defense will call witnesses to the stand tomorrow. And Gafford's attorney tells News 3 Now that will likely include Gafford himself. The woman accused of working with her boyfriend to poison women he previously dated has pled not guilty to charges in Rock County. Andrea Whitaker is facing several charges, including attempted first-degree intentional homicide as a party to a crime. She pled not guilty during a hearing today, and a trial will be set at a later date. Whitaker is charged alongside Paul Van Dyne. Both face further charges in Dane County. Well, we're learning more today about what led to the arrest of a Madison priest in Clintonville. Reverend Andrew Showers is charged with child sex crimes after an undercover online operation. Arman Rahman has the latest from investigators, and we'd like to warn you, some of these details may be graphic for some.
According to court documents, a Clintonville police sergeant went undercover online as a 14-year-old girl named Abby. The sergeant used images of another officer edited to look 14 and logged onto a Reddit page used for soliciting and discussing sexual acts in the Fox Valley area. Showers allegedly sent a private message saying he was a 36-year-old male, and the sergeant replied indicating Abby was 14 years old. Investigators say Showers still became increasingly sexually explicit in ongoing conversations, including asking Abby about her previous experiences with older men. He indicated numerous times wanting to meet with Abby to engage in sex. Showers then allegedly coordinated meeting the fictional girl at a hotel in Clintonville, where police arrested him with hotel room keys, his wallet, and a Viagra pill. Court documents say after being arrested, Showers wrote a letter to the fictional Abby where he wrote, quote, he had put his own desires, wants, and brokenness before her well-being. Showers is charged with attempting to use a computer to facilitate a child sex crime, attempted child enticement, and attempted second-degree sexual assault of a child under 16 years of age.
The Diocese of Madison had claimed there were no previous allegations of sexual misconduct made against Showers, but after the criminal complaint was filed, Bishop Donald Hine said after an ongoing review of their files, they did find in 2021 a parent had complained about comments Showers made to their middle school-aged son during a confession. Well, we're learning more about the horrific mass shooting at a Catholic grade school in Minneapolis. Police are still searching for a motive behind this attack. 2 children, ages 8 and 10, were killed. 15 children and 3 adults were injured. Doctors say one injured girl needed a CT scan, and a nurse stayed with her despite the radiation risk.
Put a little lead on and stayed there and held her hand and held her hair while she went through the scanner so she didn't have to go through it alone.
The Minneapolis mayor stood with a group of moms demand action to call for a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. The FBI is investigating the attack as an act of domestic terrorism and hate crimes targeting Catholics. A new Uber feature calling Women Preferences is allowing women to request a woman driver in the rideshare app. According to Uber's safety report, nearly 6,000 sexual assault reports were made between 2017 and 2018. By 2022, that number had dropped to just over 2,700. Now, Uber says the new feature could give women more confidence in the service.
We're in a very vulnerable position as drivers. Our backs are to the passengers, our hands are on the wheel, we're watching for safety on the road, and no one's really looking out for safety for us.
Uber adds that most drivers are men, so the company worked to make sure this new usable feature was going to work. And America's fastest train service is hitting a higher gear. The next generation high-speed Acela trains are now racing passengers between Boston, New York, and Washington, D.C. The new trains will hit speeds of up to 160 miles per hour. That's 10 miles an hour faster than before. Amtrak's president sees the new trains as key to financially breaking even by 2028.
We're seeing record ridership in all parts of the country, and so it really helps elevate that conversation.
These new trains are slower than those in Europe and Asia, in part because of tracks laid over a century ago that wind through communities. But the new trains are designed to lean into curves, letting them go faster. Still ahead tonight at 10, Blaze tells us about, it shouldn't be Blaze, it's actually Alex. He's back about our Labor Day weekend forecast. And also, Vice President J.D. Vance made a trip to La Crosse. His message for Wisconsinites. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10. Moving forward.
Welcome back. There is a major shakeup at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The Trump administration has fired the CDC director after less than a month on the job. CBS News has learned Susan Menarez was at odds with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over his COVID vaccine policies. Former acting CDC Director Richard Besser spoke with her.
And she said that there were two things she would never do in the job. One was anything that was deemed illegal. And the second was anything that she felt flew in the face of science. And she said she was asked to do both of those.
Attorneys representing Menarez says that she was targeted after she, quote, refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated public health experts, end quote. 4 other top CDC officials have also resigned. Well, Vice President J.D. Vance made a stop this afternoon in La Crosse to tout the president's spending bill. Our sister station WKBT was there, and Allison Forget tells us what he said.
Vice President Vance focused his speech on how the One Big Beautiful Bill will help domestic manufacturers and American families.
We have great American craftsmen right here in Wisconsin, and we ought to fight for them.
Vance used his stop at La Crosse's Mid-City Steel to tout the Big Beautiful Bill's impact on domestic manufacturing.
The American future that our children rely on is going to be built by and for American workers.
A main focus of Vance's speech, the bill's tax policies, which in part reauthorizes a 2017 corporate tax cut.
It makes it easier. If you're an American manufacturer or an American business, it makes it easier for you to build your facility or expand your facility right here in the United States of America.
He also argued the bill will build safer communities through crackdowns on drug trafficking.
It also gives our incredible law enforcement over $100 billion to get those drug cartels the hell out of our country once and for all.
Vance took time to mention health care, saying Democrats were against the bill because of its cuts to health care for immigrants.
What this bill refuses to do, and what Republicans absolutely refuse to do, is to give your hard-earned benefits to people who don't have the legal right to be in this country to begin with.
Audience members said they're happy with the Trump administration's America First attitude and hope to see that continue.
I think creating opportunities, focusing on America First and how do we grow our businesses here and how do we bring other people, other businesses out of country into America to create jobs.
The vice president also made stops in Georgia and Pennsylvania to promote the bill. Reporting in La Crosse, Allison Ferget, News 3 Now.
Now, the vice president's visit also drew some protests. Around 300 protesters gathered at Copeland Park in La Crosse this afternoon. People stood along Copeland Avenue awaiting Vance's arrival. Protesters held signs addressing a number of concerns, most of them relating to the president's budget bill. And ahead of Vance's visit, Governor Tony Evers' office released a report on the impact the president's spending bill will have on Wisconsin. The Department of Health Services found more than 270,000 Wisconsinites will lose their health insurance. The bill's work requirements will also cost taxpayers. Beginning in 2027, Wisconsinites will have to cover the cost of employment training. Now, for the Medicaid work requirements alone, that'll cost about $72 million a year. Turning to weather now, we've had a beautiful stretch headed into a holiday weekend. Alex, what is the Labor Day forecast?
It's looking pretty good, Sarah. Outside of a few showers on Friday, mostly clear tonight. Those few showers on Friday, and then this weekend overall looking very pleasant. So get ready for a gorgeous holiday weekend. Let's track those showers here. Just a little uptick in future track, showing the showers perhaps a bit more widespread, especially for areas, let's say I-39, I-94, and off towards the south, towards the west, catching Madison. But then the thunderstorm threat, an isolated storm, can't be ruled out right around 4 or 5 o'clock in southwest Wisconsin. But notice that there's breaks here in this area of green and a couple of those oranges. That means that some places will get wet, some places will be dry with this as the shower activity continues into the very early part of Saturday. Then those showers completely go away by the time we get into the Saturday late morning, early afternoon hours, and then that's when the real pleasant stuff begins. Overall amounts, perhaps 1/4 inch. If you do get 1 or 2 showers over and over again, you might get a couple of 10ths, 4/10, maybe a 1/2 inch. But notice that some areas in southern Wisconsin not getting any precipitation at all out of that rain chance on Friday. So it's a small rain chance overall Friday. Then we go through this dry stretch, and then we see the rain chances really increase on Wednesday. That's with the weather system that's going to be a pretty big weather maker for much of the country and bringing us significantly cooler temperatures. Let's put that first to let you see what that looks like as we go into Wednesday. Going into Thursday, we have an area of showers and thunderstorms that moves through during the day on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to be on the backside of this weather system. So with the heat of the day on Thursday, going on into Friday afternoon again, what we see are these pop-up showers that will occur during the afternoon and then during the early evening hours. They go away at night, and finally by the time we get to Saturday, we'll start to see that weather system move on out, but the cool temperatures are going to stick around. The good stuff again here, repeat, 72 Saturday, 74 Sunday, 76 on Monday. This is below normal, but again, as I've been mentioning, few are probably going to complain here with this beautiful set of temperatures over the course of Saturday, Sunday, going on into Labor Day Monday. Labor Day Monday dry on Tuesday in the 70s again. Wednesday, or Tuesday night rather, 59. That's going to be a little bit warmer out ahead of that cold front as we head towards Wednesday. Good chances for showers, a couple thunderstorms at that cold front. Those showers last into Thursday, but look at the difference between Wednesday and Thursday. Highs of 71 on Wednesday, then 60 on Thursday, with some indications we could stay in the 50s. And behind this weather system, we're going to have the continuation of that reinforcement of that cold air coming down from Canada. As I mentioned last night, it still looks like even tonight we could be going into the middle of September and temperatures being below normal, not summer-like temperatures, more like fall-like temperatures.
But it's hardly below normal when it's still nice enough to...
It feels good.
Oh, gosh.
It does feel good.
All right, thank you, Alex. And we will have the very latest and an update on the Badgers score when we come back. We've all been talking about it. The Badger game against Miami of Ohio is underway. I've been checking the score. Just a little less than a minute left in the third, and they did it. Bucky scored, touchdown. 10 to the Badgers and 0 for the Redhawks right now. For all the highlights and sound, Andrew will have you covered tomorrow, and you can continue watching our newscast and bounce back around, but we'll keep you updated for sure. In other sports news, former Dallas Cowboys oh, listen to my phone. My bad. I was getting highlights, don't mind me. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Packers. News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has more on this development.
Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer. That has started to sink in now, hasn't it? That the Packers have made this trade, giving up 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark to acquire one of the best young defensive players in all of football. Now the question becomes, put this in perspective. How does this compare with some of the other seismic moments in the modern times of the Green Bay Packers? Is it bigger than trading for Brett Favre? No, because you get a Hall of Fame quarterback, as it turns out. But at the time, Ron Wolf gave up a first-round pick for a third-string quarterback who, by his own admission, was so hungover that he missed the team picture as a rookie with the Atlanta Falcons. Is it Charles Woodson, another Pro Football Hall of Famer, signed in free agency in 2006? No, because Charles Woodson at that point, the Packers were the only team that wanted him, as opposed to Micah Parsons, who all 30 other teams would have loved to have had, apparently just not the Dallas Cowboys anymore. Is it Reggie White? It's not that either. Reggie White changed the way the Green Bay Packers were viewed. They went from being the NFL's Siberia, where you did not want to be traded, to a destination where African-American players could play and where you could win championships because of the acquisition of Reggie White. So Micah Parsons and the Packers need to win a Super Bowl during his time in Green Bay before we start putting it anywhere near that. But there is one difference. Reggie White was a free agent. The Packers had to give up 2 first-round picks and a Pro Bowl player to get Micah Parsons. The bottom line is this. Brian Gutekunst, after the season ended with a playoff loss in Philadelphia, was very clear. We need to ramp up our urgency. We need to start competing for championships. that was directed at his players, but now we have seen that he has put his money where his mouth was. He not only talked the talk, but he walked the walk with this trade. In Green Bay, for Channel3000.com, I'm Jason Wilde.
Big day. Thank you, Jason. Well, Wisconsin volleyball opens their season tomorrow at the Kohl Center, hosting number 14 Kansas in the opening Spike Classic. And when they take the floor, they'll do it with a whole lot of new faces as well. For the Badgers coaching staff, though, nothing changes. They continue to teach their same philosophies while adapting to the players' needs. Players that have made massive improvements in a short amount of time. Well, Alex is going to be back for a final check on your forecast before you head back to watch the final quarter of the Badger game.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10. Moving forward.
And here's a meal for me, the adventurous carnivore, at a food truck in a Swedish town. I am Swedish. Locals and tourists are lining up for a wild twist on the classic American favorite, but this one is a reindeer cheesesteak. I know. Tony Rudolph. Owners wanted a hearty dish to fuel local miners through long shifts and also give visitors something bold to bite into. At $26 a pop, it is the most expensive sandwich in Europe. Mix reindeer, moose, and bacon, or just reindeer and bacon at a food stand. Would you do it? I'm a vegetarian, so that's the joke here. But
I would have some problems with that. But you know, it's different place, different parts of the world,
right.
and people have different sources of meat in different parts of the world.
I think your answer is no.
I think my answer is just get to the point, Alex. Let me direct. No, the answer is no.
A little different, kind of like our different forecast for this time of the year.
Yeah, normally we were staying out in the field today. I was telling Eric and Andrew, sometimes upper 80s, right around 90 for that Badger opener. Nothing like that today. Temperatures in the lower 70s. And as we take a peek at our forecast here, just a couple showers on Friday. The overall weekend is looking pleasant, not looking anything end of August or early September. Like these are highs you'd see mid to late September, especially after Labor Day, and we have that rainmaker Wednesday and Thursday. We could be struggling to get out of the 50s next Thursday.
Interesting.
Yeah,
right.
Feels like fall.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah. And thanks for watching News 3 Now at 10. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is next. Our next show is tomorrow morning at 4:30, and you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.